Manx Radio's Countryside is brought to you by NFU Mutual.
Hello and welcome to Countryside here on Manx Radio. I'm Simon Clark.
And I'm Kirree Kermode. At the weekend, I braved the elements to head over to Ballagher to the Cronk-y-Voddy Ploughing Match.
I speak to Nigel Taylor from Ramsey and Onken Fur and Feather Society about their up-and-coming show. And I speak to one of the founders of Beach Buddies, Bill Dale, to find out more about a prestigious award that they've been nominated for. Well, Kirree, first of all, there's been plenty of damage done to some of the farm buildings, which has been a bit of a nuisance, hasn't it?
Trees and anything that's loose and hanging off was ripped off at the weekend. My golly, what a storm that was. And it's brought back that wet and miserable underfoot again. Hard to get across the fields at the minute, and it just feels like it's relentless at the moment.
Yeah. What about, people moan about the sailings being cancelled and the flights, but obviously with this weather, not much can be done about it. But how does it affect the Isle of Man from feeding, not so much from a produce one, but getting materials in for feed?
Yeah, this time of year, some of the products are coming in from across, especially the bagged feed into Isle of Man farmers and the other merchants around the Isle of Man. But also there's imports of straw at the moment. If they can get it, it's very scarce. And it's critical that they keep a stock on the island. I know that the freight boat will go most weeks one way or another, but you've got to be organised. You've got to book it weeks in advance and make sure it's readily available on farm for any eventuality like now. It's difficult at the minute if you're trying to export livestock. They won't be going on this ferry. It has to be steady weather, and it's just difficult to make business decisions. You are judged by the weather.
Yeah, it makes it difficult though, honestly, but there's nothing we can do about it, and everyone on the Isle of Man is fair used to it now, I would like to think. So.
Well, this is it. But the seasons are changing. Like we spoke to Alan Webster last week that came over for the Grassland Society. He's seen so much change in his 50-odd years of farming, and the weather and the seasons being one of them, or very much the most important one.
Yeah. Well, anyway, on with the programme. Well, Beach Buddies, having recently won a national award in London, the charity has now been nominated for a prestigious award in Trondheim in Norway, and it's for work in promoting environmental awareness amongst young people. And who better to tell me about it is one of the founders of Beach Buddies, Bill Dale. And, well, it'll go along with lots of the other awards that Beach Buddies have collected in the past, Bill.
We've been very lucky, Simon, over the years to be featured, for instance, in National Geographic magazine, which we thought was absolutely fantastic, and it was. And then we've been on BBC a few times, and there's been a couple of very beautiful documentaries produced about us by reputable people such as Water Bear. But when we were nominated for a worldwide award for the Energy Globe, I mean, you think about it, there's countries from all over the world. This is going to be filmed by goodness knows how many TV stations. We're told the coverage is going to be 400 million. I mean, this is massive. Who would have ever thought that was going to happen? But yeah, you're right. This is a very big moment for Beach Buddies.
5 others in the last sort of finalists of it. Do you know much about them, or is it irrelevant in a way? It'd be such an honour, whatever happens.
You're right. I think to be in the final 5 in the world is a pretty fantastic achievement. We are in a category for what we've done with youth and education in schools, and there are 4 other categories on top of that in different areas. So we are one of 25 different environmental groups in the world which has been nominated. So just to be on the list is great. To be invited to Trondheim, it's a special day. The way I look at it, more than anything else, okay, this is brilliant for Beach Buddies, but this is also fantastic for the Isle of Man. Only yesterday, somebody sent me a message to say, this is somebody who travels around the world a lot, and she said that it was exceptional what has been achieved in the Isle of Man. She's been to beaches here, there and everywhere. This is somebody who travels a lot. And she said she still hasn't found anywhere which comes remotely close to what we've achieved in the Isle of Man. So I think sometimes we take it for granted, and I think I do as well to some extent, because we've had such a great following. But it looks now like the rest of the world is watching what we're doing, and this is just another opportunity to spread the word that there is a method of cleaning up the world's beaches, and also, indirectly, by stopping trash getting into the environment in the first place, which is really what this is all about. Because if you just pick up the rubbish off the beach, and I think you and I have had this conversation a few times before, that's a great thing to do. But what you've got to do is stop it getting onto the beach in the first place. And that's where the education program has helped. And I hope that anybody listening to this now will look back on the last 5, 10, 15 years and realise that not only are the beaches cleaner in the Isle of Man, but the roadsides and the parks and the plantations and the hills and the mountains, everywhere. What's happened is everybody's bought into this. We've got an enormous number of volunteers have taken part. But the great thing is the involvement with the children. That's the best bit.
And the recent award was involving education as well, I believe.
That's why we've been nominated for the World Award, because we won and again, this is with Energy Globe, and they liked our presentation and the achievement so much that we were then nominated by Energy Globe's internal team and shortlisted for this World Award, because they look on what we've done as being a bit special. So how fantastic is that for the Isle of Man?
What about from, you've been there from the start, Bill, one of the founders. When was it? Just remind me.
2006, you were there, Simon. I was going to bring that up. I remember you and I and Sandy Heighton, who was the original friend of mine, who we worked on this together. You interviewed us on Ballaugh Beach. And that was where it all started, 2006. And it was just the two of us. And I don't know if you remember the statistics, but in 6 weekends we picked up 30,000 plastic bottles, and stuff was a metre deep in the sand, and that was one beach. And I remember the publicity. We were so chuffed with the publicity that Manx Radio gave us and your program gave us that day, and that was where it really kick-started. Because the next thing you know, we had volunteers coming out of our ears. I mean, it was incredible, and we've got now very, very close to 20. Well, I've kept count. Ex-journalist, you see, I can't keep away from figures and photographs. And I took photographs on the first day to prove it as well. But recent statistics, we are very, very close to 20,000 different volunteers since we started all those 18 years ago. So, I mean, that's 25% of the population. Pretty remarkable, really. If you'd asked me, and you didn't ask me that question on the first day because we had no idea what was going to happen. But if you'd asked me then, how many volunteers do you think we would get? I would have said, well, if we get a couple of hundred, that would be great. We had 1,500 by the end of the first year. And the majority of those, the 20,000, is definitely from schools. I would say probably 12,000 of those are children from schools. And the wonderful thing about that is those children have loved it so much, they've gone home and educated mum and dad. And at weekends, it happens now all the time. I'll see a little face of somebody who's come along for the first time to one of our Sunday sessions, and they brought mum and dad. And mum and dad aren't always that keen, to be honest, to be pulled out on a Sunday morning. And they've gone down the beach with the kids who are dead full of enthusiasm. And when they come back, mum and dad have come up and said, you know what, we've really enjoyed it as well, and we're coming back again. So the children are going home and taking a message to the parents, and indirectly there's an education program going on between the children and their mums and dads and their brothers and sisters and aunties and uncles. Yeah. Fantastic.
One thing as well I've learned from talking to people who maybe go on it for the first time, you walk on the beach on your own for a walk. It's so therapeutic, isn't it? The sea is around us, the fresh air that the Isle of Man's got to offer. And people think when they join this, even just for an hour, that it's therapeutic, but they're doing some good.
They are, and the one thing that I never really thought too much about, because I thought it just applied to me, is that when I was on the beach in the early days, and to be honest, I didn't tell too many people to begin with, I would have some really fantastic moments when you're just the one person on the beach in a beautiful spot. You've got several bags of rubbish under your arms, and you walk back and you think, you know what, this is a really nice thing to do. And it's a special moment. And now I realise that all these thousands of people are getting that same feeling that I got in those early days. And I still get that now even. Because there are lots of times when I still go out on my own you get a tingle down your spine sometimes when you look at the beach and you think, my word, I remember what this was like. And look at it now, you can hardly find anything. There's people tell me that they go out on the beach and they say, it's nothing like it was before. We don't have to take huge bags anymore. There's just little bits, and if everybody's doing it, then we're on top of it. So, and outside of the 20,000 which we've numbered over the years, I know that there's probably another 10 or 15,000 who keep coming up to me and sending messages who say, well, we can't come on a Sunday because of whatever reason. But we're out there, and we've adopted a section of beach at Kirkmichael or Ballaugh or Ramsey or Port St Mary, wherever, and they're getting the same kick out of it as I did all those years ago, and as I continue to do. So, somewhere along the line, we've stumbled on what is the solution, and I'm hoping that when we go to the awards in Norway, that I've been given the chance to make a presentation to the conference. So I'm really looking forward to being able to spread the word. And I hope that all the countries that's represented, because they're all over the world, right away from here to New Zealand, I hope that they're going to be able to go back to their countries and say, we found a little bit of a method that works. Let's give it a go ourselves.
You think if people are going around the Isle of Man beaches with the weather we have, that they'd be keen enough to get on the Gold Coast and do something?
You know what? We've been invited. I mean, we've got connections now in probably best part of about 80, 90 countries, and there are groups. They like to have their own names. They like to be associated with Beach Buddies, but they call themselves a different name because they like to be a bit independent. But those people are spreading the word, and how fantastic is that for the Isle of Man? Is that they say, well, we're just copying something that we've seen that's happening in the Isle of Man, and they're sending messages back, and it succeeds. So we've stumbled somehow on the answer to this, and if the education was to spread, for instance, as part of the curriculum for children everywhere, then they will take that through to future generations, and maybe we can solve this problem, which is absolutely destroying the oceans on this planet.
You going alone, Bill?
No, I'm going with 4 other people. We have a small works committee, and they're self-funding their trip. The Energy Globe have funded my trip to the awards, but these 4 volunteers of ours who are just invaluable to me, they're coming with me. So there's going to be 5 of us there representing the Isle of Man. We're going to give out as many Manx badges and business cards as we can, and spread the word as much as we can. We're there for 3 days, and fingers crossed we put the Isle of Man absolutely firmly on the world map for what's been achieved by a fantastic group of people, and I have made some wonderful friends over the years, and let's fingers crossed that we win it.
Good luck to all of you and your team.
Thank you.
When does it happen?
It's on the awards ceremony is on Thursday the 25th. We're leaving we go on Tuesday, and we're there for 2.5, 3 days. So let's see what happens.
Bill Dale, one of the founders of Beach Buddies, and that wonderful nomination for this award. The last 5 of them shortlisted from a worldwide list. That's an immense achievement for the Beach Buddies and all the team involved in it, isn't it?
It's absolutely fabulous, and I love the way they go round into the schools and get speaking to the primary age children and even some of the older children, and it has changed the Isle of Man. That people are a lot more aware of putting litter away, recycling, collecting as they go, and it is down to people like Bill that commit their time, their energy. It's great the amount of time and effort that goes into it.
Yes, and that has been this is going to be happening on the 25th, this Thursday, this award. So good luck. But, even to get that far, to be nominated for a worldwide award like that, well done to everyone involved in that. You're listening to Countryside here on Manx Radio with Kirree Kermode and myself, Simon Clark. Well, Kirree, did any of the tractors get stuck during the ploughing match at Cronk-y this weekend?
I think a few cars might have done. There wasn't too many spectators there, but it was well attended. A few ploughmen and women missing, but the weather hasn't just been favourable this last few weeks. And when I was there, I caught up with Dennis Quirk, the main man of the day over at Ballagher. Well, it's always a bit ropey, the weather at this time of year, but this week has beat the lot, hasn't it?
Well, it can be a bit ropey. This is not too bad, really, today. It was a little bit sticky this morning, first thing, but it's not bad now. It's very windy, which isn't very nice, especially when you're over 25.
That said, the horses haven't come today either.
That's why the horses haven't come.
Yeah. But last week it went well here at Ballagher?
Last week it went well. We're just short a few competitors. One or two haven't come for various reasons. And again today, but they'll be back again for another year, hopefully.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The Cronk-y-Voddy Ploughing Association has been going a good number of years now, and you're the president.
Yeah.
How have you felt it's progressing over time?
Well, I think it's gone well. We give trophies and prize money, and we're not bragging, but we're the only ones that do.
Well,
Having said that, we run the Cronk-y-Voddy Ploughing Society. We run sports on Tynwald Day, and they have a route show, and that's where we get the money from. It's not the ploughing match we get the money from. We get it from there, so that's how that works. And we give away. We have done for a number of years now, given away to charities. This year is no different. And I can tell you this because this won't go out until after the prize presentation. We are giving £4,000 again this year to the ME Society.
Wow, that's terrific, isn't it? It really
well,
is.
Well, we've given £4,000 away every year for the last 6-7 years, I think.
Goodness, wow, that's impressive.
From the time we started giving away, we started giving £250 away.
Oh,
and since we've started, I think, I'm not too sure, but I think we're over £70,000 that we have given.
And you should be very proud of yourselves.
Well,
that's a huge amount of money going to charity.
With the short amount of people we've got, they're all good to work.
They are. You've got a good team around you here today, haven't you?
We're here in the marquee today, and Mr. and Mrs. Brown, Marion Kane is here doing the food. And, it's all hot soup and...
It's really good food.
And bacon baps is all what you want.
And the cakes, don't forget them.
Well, yes.
Did you make any?
I did offer yesterday.
Well, I never.
Wendy, as you noticed, is not here. Wendy's not well, but yesterday I said about giving her a hand to make them, but I wasn't good enough.
You stick to the judging, so you've got a task on your hands out there now, Dennis.
I might not be any good at that either. One person will think I am.
Oh,
the
well,
winner.
Very true, absolutely. So what will you be looking for out there? We've got various types of styles going on.
Well, on the judges' sheet, you get a list, and there's 6 different elements to look at. The opening split, the bye, the straightness, the packing, the seed bed. It all comes in, and they all mark individually.
Right, I see.
So when you're judging even, you sometimes don't know who's won because there's so many different elements to add up at the end. And it can be confusing at the end.
I bet it can. There'll be all eyes keeping an eye on that sheet, making sure the maths is right. But that said, Dennis, ploughing is such an essential part of agriculture and farming life. You talk about the seed bed there, and I know we've mentioned it a number of times when we've popped out to the ploughing matches, but it is crucial. This land here at Ballagher, it seems sandy enough, but will it change across the field?
No, I think this is fairly universal across the field. This field will be, each field, but place to place does. And even field to field sometimes. I know I've done lots of ploughing at Ballamore when I was there, and sometimes you'd be ploughing a field, and you'd be ploughing, it'd be good, everything be going well. You go in the field next door, and it's totally different. So you got to know how to get the plough to go. So that's.
And would that vary the style that you'd plough that day? A plough, you put it down 6 inches and away you go.
No, it's not. You don't put it down. A lot of people, and there's no disrespect to them. Not farmers bought tractors, vintage tractors, and a plough and thought all we had to do was drop it in the ground and go. In fair dues, though, quite a lot of them that have done that have got better and better and better. So it's only practice that's needed.
So it is a skill to it then?
Well, there's a skill to it, yes. But as you say, the ploughing is essential. But when you look at farming programs, ploughing is going out.
It is indeed, yeah.
Not
yeah.
in the Isle of Man, it doesn't seem to be, but it is in the farming community across. They're using these big implements that can drag the ground up, and they say it lets less carbon out of the ground. So, you know,
we go,
I suppose we got to believe what they tell us.
This is it.
I'm not sure how they can measure tons of carbon in the atmosphere.
This is it.
Maybe I'm a bit old-fashioned.
No, but you're true in what you're saying. Yeah, a lot of these agri-environmental schemes now, you know, are sort of looking out for minimum tillage and all the rest of it. I know times do change. You'll have seen an awful lot of change in farming through your lifetime.
I have seen a lot of changes. When I was 12, when my father got the tractor, so I never ploughed with horses in my life. Jim Kane did. They were across the valley from us. We were in Cronk-y-Voddy and they were in Little London. And Jim and his father Norman, they used to plough with the horses, and they were using the horses, but we had the tractor. But when Norman left school, I think that's when he got the tractor. Norman wanted the tractor, and that's when he got the tractor.
Keep them in close.
Yeah.
Well, that there, the horsepower compared to the mechanical horsepower, the difference that would have made to farming life.
Oh, a tremendous difference. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. We at home, as far as I can remember, well, I was only 12, but the horses we had at home never seemed to be great horses. I don't know why. Probably it's the owners. Well, animals do come from the owners, but Little London Canes always had good, quiet horses. And it's probably to do with the owners, but I think that's how they got the tractor in the first place.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Some people rather the livestock than they do the machines, and same to this day. I rather the stock than I would do the tractors. But I appreciate the effort and the work that goes into the ploughing and making the land good for the crops. And today we've got Nicola and David Rauncey here. No horses this week.
No horses, unfortunately. But they had a hard week last week, actually, where they were ploughing last week. They had a hard week. They done really well last week.
It's just the ground was hard to turn.
It was a little bit harder to pull up there, and it's quite heavy to pull, and they are really small horses, really, but you know. Yeah.
No, but it's good to see them still out, and for our listeners to come and have a look at them ploughing.
Oh, yes.
Phenomenal, that connection between the animal and the person.
Yeah.
But the competitors are out there now, Dennis. They'll be well through half their butt, are they?
Sorry?
They're halfway through?
They're about halfway through, yeah.
So how long will it take them to do their patch they're giving out?
Well, they've got until 3 o'clock.
Right.
So
Deadline.
they can't take to that, but they will be finished before that.
Yeah.
We haven't got very long length to plough. We haven't got a field big enough to make it longer. It would be nice if they could make them twice as long.
I see.
Make them do a bit more length.
and then it'll show the straightness, I suppose.
Shows it up better. Yeah. And it's actually easier to judge, really, in a way. There's more length and all to look at, you know, so... Yeah, but unfortunately, it's not easy to get a field these days. So...
Why would that be?
Well, some people aren't ploughing the stubble because they're getting paid for not ploughing until February.
I see, yes.
I think.
How the schemes have changed,
and
that's
then,
right.
And then you can get a tractor with a 4-footer plough. You can plough any amount of acres in a day. Used to be with a horse, if you ploughed an acre a day, you done well.
That's a lot.
Now you'll do 2 or 3 acres an hour, probably. I don't know.
You'll know you did a bit of it yourself at the Ballamore there, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But it's nice to see Ronnie still having a go here doing the Manx style.
Ronnie, you'll not stop Ronnie. Ronnie is out every morning. He's done his breakfast and he's down at Close William. And I bet you if you went down there at 8 o'clock, Ronnie would be there.
Wow.
And he's down nearly all day. He goes home for his dinner and he's back down again. He's doing something down there all day.
Brilliant.
I said to him one day about, what are you doing now then, Ronnie? Oh, I was cleaning the ditch, he said. So he said, and he's cleaning it with a spade.
Well, I
know not a tractor, with a spade.
Well, that's how they used to make them, eh?
He's a tough man,
Ronnie.
Is,
isn't he?
Yeah.
Well, he does a lovely style of ploughing there with that Manx,
he
Manx
is
style.
Very good. He has a little bit of a problem last week with his plough. There was something going matter with it last week, and he hasn't got it actually fixed.
Oh no!
So he's struggling. He's struggling to keep it going right.
Won't it?
Yeah, but knowing Ronnie, he'll do something right.
Yeah. So anyway, well, I better let you get back to your judging, Dennis.
I've got to go and judge now.
Yes, and we'll catch up with the results after.
Good to talk to you anyway.
And you too, Dennis. Right. There we go, a very busy man, Dennis Quirk, the judge, the president of the Cronk-y-Voddy Ploughing Society, and he's always a great character to chat to. But we will be hearing more from the ploughing in next week's programme from Nicola and David Rawlsey, who keep the heavy horses for the ploughing, and also Steady Al, or Alan Radcliffe, for those that don't know him as Steady, about his ploughing and his recent award at the Manx Grassland Dinner.
Okay, well, it's bird time, and it's been a difficult few years with the avian flu scares that have been happening around the country and Europe and affected parts of the Isle of Man as well. But the Ramsey and Onchan District Fur and Feather Society are holding their show on Sunday the 4th of February. Nigel Taylor from the Society told me more. Well, great to see the Onchan and Ramsey Fur and Feather Society show going ahead.
Yes, we're pleased we can hold it. We did hold one in September last year, actually. We thought we'd have it early to make sure there were no problems because of bird flu. And there haven't been, touch wood, on the island over the winter. So we're hoping to go ahead with one in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and isn't that one of the things that the Society has to keep a very, very close eye on, Nigel?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, we keep close contact with the chief vet, the government vet. And if there's any concerns, well, we'll probably not hold the show.
Right. And what about the stage? Because obviously a lot of the people, well, some of the people on the Isle of Man, and maybe some from the UK come to the Isle of Man. Is that allowed to travel with them?
We can still travel with birds at the moment. There are no restrictions in the UK just at the moment. I think the last control zone stopped at the start of January. So again, touch wood, there's no cases of bird flu. But we're hoping that the two big UK shows might happen later in the year. Those are the big ones which we all look forward to.
Yeah, and you go away yourself to these ones?
I do, yeah. I take some of my breeds. I've got some Archers and Welsummers and Old English pheasant fowls I like to take to those, but they've just not been happening for the last 3 or 4 years.
What about the, obviously it's fur and feather, you're more involved, I think, on the feather side of it, Nigel, but what sort of breeds and types of animals are involved in the Fur and Feather Society shows? Yeah,
well, all are welcome in terms of small livestock. We've got classes for cats and guinea pigs and rabbits on the fur side.
Well, and is the guinea pig side, are they classed as cavies, or is that slightly different? Just to clear that one up.
No, that's what we call them on the forms. They're called cavies.
Yeah.
And Margaret Farragher from Ramsey's coming to judge those.
Yeah. And you've had judges from further afield on lots of occasions. Is that to give it a fresh look where, you get somebody outside, it's their chance to see what we've got on the Isle of Man?
Well, it is. I mean, if we have local judges, and there are people who've done the qualifications with the Poultry Club of Great Britain to be able to judge birds, so there are a few people on the island, but it takes them away from being involved with perhaps showing themselves, you see. So
Fix.
Yes. So this time we've got Dilwyn Green from North Wales coming over. We know him well. He's been several times before over the years.
Yeah. And how much preparation goes into? You're a shower yourself, Nigel, so is there a lot beforehand?
Well, shamefully, I've done very little, really, but you could argue it starts from when you start hatching the eggs. You're looking for the best ones and making sure that they're growing and kept in good condition right up to the show day.
What about keeping them at home? Is it quite, if nobody's done it or somebody's wanting to do it for the first time, do you have to spend a lot of money on equipment and sheds and things?
Not really. You can keep. There's a huge range of different breeds. Some are more suitable for keeping in small spaces than the others, and some suit people better than others. And you don't need to keep a cockerel; they'll still lay eggs, so you might not. You can avoid having noise to disturb your neighbours. But I always think you're best with a little garden shed, actually, which you can get in and out, and the birds can get in and out of. But a big problem really is looking after them and their security and avoiding things like polecats and predation from polecats.
Yeah, and feeding wise, is it an all year round?
Well, I tend to give them a mix of, my ones get a mix of wheat and maize and pellets. Some people would only feed purely pellets, but I think they're far happier and healthier with a bit of a mix of food. And if they're out on grass, that's the best thing as well, that they can peck and scratch around in a more natural environment.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get to, whether the food changes from the winter time to the summer. So.
Well, it does a bit. I mean, people sometimes say they feed their birds a vegetarian diet, but what they actually eat could be different, because they'll go and scratch around and find little bugs and all sorts of things to eat for themselves.
Yeah, not the sort of weather for them outside at the moment.
It's not great. Mine are all hiding away under the hedges today.
Yeah. But I mean, what's the biggest show that you've ever seen or been to yourself?
Well, the big one we have is the Federation of Poultry Clubs show at Stafford, which is normally held in December each year, and there's thousands of chickens there, but they're actually quite small compared to some of the huge ones you get across in the mainland Europe, in some of the big cities like Hamburg, where they've got 15,000 birds, something like that, which is incredible, but I've never seen that.
There'd be plenty of noise in the background then, though. But Sunday, the 4th of February, is when the show is on. Not far around the corner now, Nigel. All the entries closed? No,
there's still plenty of time to enter. The closing date is the 28th of January, so if anyone wants to get in touch, they could give me a shout, phone or text on 472257. And then, as you say, the show itself is Sunday the 4th at Andreas Parish Hall.
Great ambassador and enthusiastic member of the Ramsey and Onken Fur and Feather Society show there, Nigel Taylor. Tell us about the show.
He's taken part for a number of years now, and it is great. There's lots of classes, the pigeons, the cage birds, rabbits, cavies, cats, and all of the poultry too. So get along. Have you got anything ended?
No. Nothing like that. But, maybe in the future, when I got a bit more time on my hands. But Nigel there explaining, it's not too bad once you get the bits and pieces, organised for housing the hens or the chickens or whatever you've got. We do have a chicken fence at home.
Oh,
yeah, but with the extension and things going on, we haven't had a chance to get anything sorted with the getting slack in my old age.
Oh, but it is lovely keeping a few hens, especially growing up on the farms. They were always about in the yard, weren't they, scratting away. And I can't beat a farmyard egg, though.
No. Good old orange yolk.
Oh, they're beautiful.
There we go. That's made me hungry. That's it. If you've missed any parts of the programme, you can catch up on Manx Radio's website and go and download the podcast for free there. And we'll be back next Tuesday with more from the countryside. So until then, from me, Simon Clark.
And me, Kirree Kermode.
We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.